Don't get mad. Get media. MadPod. Rare. Celebrity interviews. Indie music. MadPod.com. Your global audio internet
Coming up on the
connection.
next Mad Pod, Sheila E. You remember Sheila E?
There was one point in the show that Pops asked me to take a solo, and I looked at him like, what does that mean? And he pointed to his heart, like, play from your heart, you know. I closed my eyes and I played. When we were done backstage, my dad looked at me, Pops, he says, you know, I can't even deny you what you already know. I had no idea. And I think it was just from over the years really watching and listening to my dad play. I never really wanted to play. It was just at that time at 15, that one show that I did with my dad with Azteca, I knew then that's what I was supposed to be doing.
Born in San Francisco and joining us live coast to coast from Los Angeles, R&B singer, songwriter, and prolific percussionist Sheila Escovedo, better known as the legendary Sheila E. Welcome, Sheila. A pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you very much. Nice speaking with you as well.
Now, firstly, you toured with the Latin jazz fusion band Azteca, led by your father, Pete Escovedo, during the mid-1970s, who himself recorded a pair of albums on the legendary Fantasy Records label, and Uncle Coke Escovedo is also a master percussionist. Is this when you were bitten by the musical bug, Sheila?
Actually, close to it, at age 14 or so. Yeah, I think it was 14. I joined a local band who had called me to play percussion in the band because they had heard that my dad and my uncle were playing with Santana at that time. And they asked me if I was a percussionist, and I said yes. Not really I was, but I said that I was. So I joined that little band for about a year. And then at the age of 15, I played one show with my dad, Azteca. And my dad, I actually took over for his percussion player, his other percussion player, Victor Pantoja, and played that one show. And my dad, you know, said to me, no, but they couldn't find anyone. At the end of the show that night, we just looked at each other, and I cried because I was just amazed by him being able to him letting me play, but just musically to play with a band so awesome as they were. It was for 3,000 people, the most people I had ever performed in front of. And it was just an experience that was almost, I would say, out of body, but it was overwhelming. And there was one point in the show that Pops asked me to take a solo, and I looked at him like, what does that mean? And he pointed to his heart, like, play from your heart. You know, I closed my eyes and I played. When I opened my eyes, I just had chills. It was just the most awesome experience ever. And when we were done backstage, my dad looked at me, Pops, he says, you know, I can't even deny you what you already know. I had no idea. And I think it was just from over the years really watching and listening to my dad play. I never really wanted to play. It was just something that he had done around the house. So, you know, long story short, at that time at 15, that one show that I did with my dad with Azteca, I knew then that's what I was supposed to be doing.
That's a great story, Sheila. So how does it feel being proclaimed a VH1 diva?
I didn't know I was. I performed on the VH1 Diva show. I had a wonderful, wonderful time. I had so much fun, and people were very, very nice to me. And I don't know. I mean, it's very funny. Diva is a word that has in the past, a long time ago, has been great, and then it became something that was not cool. And I really wanted to become a good thing again. I think diva stands for divine, really. We're supposed to be able to be a blessing, and sometimes diva, not long ago, has become a thing where that women in the business demand the things that they should and are accustomed to, and different things that are not always great. So I think we should be more as divine as we can. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Sheila, you were on the road with Lionel Richie, and since 1986 toured and recorded with Prince, who discovered you back in 1983 when he invited you to sing on Erotic City, actually the B-side to his number one 1984 single, Let's Go Crazy. What were your thoughts of the Prince organization before joining? That really sounded like a once-in-a-lifetime chance.
It was pretty awesome, actually, to... The song Erotic City, when he asked me to come in and sing that song, I was shocked because when he called and said, I want you to come in the studio with me, I said, sure. I said, you want me to bring timbales or drums? And he says, no, I don't need you to bring anything. I said, what do you mean? He goes, just come on. I got to the studio. He wanted me to sing, and I freaked out because I was like, I don't sing. I don't like singing. No. He said, no, this is cool. So that was awesome, but I had known him prior to that, and I think his organization at that time was something really, really big because he was not only doing his records, but he was then doing records on other artists and putting them out that he was producing, like Vanity Six and The Time and Maserati, and writing songs for different people. So as far as I was concerned, I loved what he was doing, his organization, and how it was just like one big army of people, that everyone got along, and it was great. It was great.
You met Prince during the Purple Rain recording sessions, Sheila. What were your early impressions of the Purple One?
Actually, I met him in 1978 during his first record, so it wasn't during Purple Rain. Purple Rain was well after that.
That's right. It was I Want to Be Your Lover.
Yeah, so it was at the very beginning of his career, and the funny thing about it is that was at the time that my dad again was playing with Santana, and they were in rehearsals, and Prince was in Sausalito recording his first record. And Tom Coster, the keyboard player for Santana, and my dad, they were saying, man, there's this guy, this young kid who is in the Bay Area who is supposedly recording, playing all the instruments himself, writing all the songs, and producing it. And they were totally amazed, and they said, we've heard some of the stuff just by way of, and we can't believe, how awesome this is. So I asked my dad, I said, Pops, can I just go and meet him? And they said, well, we're, not anywhere where we can just go into the studio, so maybe you'll meet him soon. So I ended up meeting him, and I went to one of Prince's concerts. He had performed in the Bay Area, and that's when I met him. And I walked up to Prince, and I said, hi, I just want to say my name is, and he grabbed my hand, he shook it, he says, I already know who you are. And I said, huh? Because I was excited to meet him, and he says, you're Sheila Escovedo. And I said, yes. And he says, I've been following your career. And I said, really? He said, I saw you on Midnight Special playing with George Duke, and the first thing he asked me was, how much do you get paid a week? And I said, well, I get this much. He goes, I'll never be able to afford you. And I said, well, things change, and they did.
Your reputation actually preceded you.
Yes, absolutely.
Sheila, your debut smash single was the title track from the Warner Brothers LP The Glamorous Life, issued June 16, 1984, reaching number 7 on the Billboard Top 40 with an unbelievable 26-week chart run. Sheila, when the song hit big, did you handle the sudden success well?
Good question. I thought I did. It really happened. It seemed like it happened very quickly, but actually I took my band to Europe for 2 months before we came out to do the Purple Rain tour, which we opened up for Prince, and that's when Glamorous Life hit. We did 2 months of extensive, hard publicity. We did 8 to 10 hours a day of just publicity. We did every interview, every magazine, television show that we could, and we did it in Europe first so that when we came over to the United States that it would do what it did. And so when we got back to the States after doing the 2 months, I hadn't realized how big Glamorous Life had gotten, and it kind of scared me a little bit because I would walk somewhere into a mall or whatever and didn't realize that my picture was everywhere, and kind of got mobbed, and just it was an experience that you watch the Beatles go through on television at that time. The Jackson 5. We looked at those people, the Osmonds, or whomever like that, and to kind of live that, it was a little bit scary. It was an adjustment for sure. And I thought it was okay, but then it got a little weird because I thought, wow, I don't have my privacy anymore. It's totally like out the window. So it took a minute to adjust to, and then after a while, I really thought, well, maybe I want to do something else because I really can't go anywhere. And it was strange, and I felt like I wasn't sure how to treat people, and that was the point. That was the part that was a little bit, I don't know, a place where I thought I had put myself that I didn't like who I was. It got to a point where I didn't feel like I was treating everyone the same, and that's when I started changing and thought, you know what, I don't want to be that person that I felt that I had created that had gone a little bit overboard. And so, I thought it was okay at the beginning, and I took it overboard, I think, like most people do. You get successful, and you kind of go, wow, what the heck happened? And then you hopefully bring it back to home, with family and friends who tell you, you've changed a little bit. And so now I'm glad what I'm not anymore. I think I'm a better person. So going through all that, I think I'm ready for the success again.
Don't get mad. Get media. MadPod. Rare. Celebrity interviews. Indie music. MadPod.com.
Live coast to coast from Los Angeles with R&B singer, songwriter, and prolific percussionist, the legendary Sheila E. joins us. Sheila, the follow-up single was The Belle of St. Mark, peaking at number 34 Halloween week, October 27, 1984, with another 15 straight weeks on FM radio, as well as 12-inch disco Club Play, also charting on the British Top of the Pops. Sheila, your godfather was the late Tito Puente. Rhythm certainly runs in the family.
Yes, it does. Tito, we actually called him our grandfather. We called him Grandpa, but my dad and Tito grew up together at age 15, and so he was part of the family in that sense. But my dad does have other brothers that play. They're all very musical. Other guitar players, they have their own bands and their own records and their own CDs out. But certainly rhythm does run in the family. Both my brothers play percussion. They play with Lionel Richie, Hammer. They play with everyone, and they're still actually performing now. Everyone is playing with all kind of people. So we're really blessed to be able to have rhythm in the family.
When you were on tour with former guest on this program, legend